understand.
Storms rise over frozen land. Cold wind cuts like a bladed hand. We walk through snow, through blood, through fire. Bound by fate, by oath, desire. No turning back, no path to save. Only glory or the grave. Hear the drums beneath the sky. Brothers, this is where we die. Valhalla is calling us home. Through the dark we march alone. Steel and fire in our soul. We were born for this war. Ash and frost upon our skin. The war begins, let chaos in. Shields collide and axes scream. Death is closer than it seems. Falling snow, but hearts burn bright. We become the storm tonight. Step by step into the flame. Carving legends in our name. Valhalla is calling us home. Through the dark we march alone. Blood and honor in our veins. We will rise again. Raise your voice into the storm. Let the ancient gods be warned. We are sons of endless night, forged in war, reborn in fight. Hear the wolves, they run with us. Hear the thunder, feel the crush. Every step the earth will shake. Every breath the world will break. Valhalla is calling us home. Through the fire, through the cold. No fear left in our eyes. Only war, only pride. We do not kneel, we do not break. We do not run from what we take. If we fall, we rise again. In the halls beyond our pain. Fire fades, but we remain. In the songs, in the slain. Every warrior knows the way. Death is just another game. Valhalla is calling us home. Through the dark we are reborn. From the blood and from the war. We are legends evermore. Snow will cover what we were, but our names will always burn. In the wind, in the night, we still march, we still fight. Kallar, blod och járn standa saman.
Fjällgráta undir fótum.
Óðins jörð Risas skelder, brodnar frost, biter håll och beinen hjärta bränner sig välder. Varför ryser i oss, föder rött lejd i oss i döjda är, fingern liv i blodig skrivade sög. Stormar vaknar, gör skälfer, ulfar löjva med oss. Ej i åttons träd, något i döjlig elvar viner. Tillbaka bröder fattlan risa i sögun affera lyra död i bud. Alla ryser i oss, kallade nattfärdsmans, i eld och isker gamla till ända pressa hängs. I snjónum í síðasta sinn. Enginn veit morgundaginn en allir vita endan. Fætur þungir ís, augun sjá eld. Í fjarska bíður dauðinn en vér göngum áfram. Móðinn tar mig heim. Þar sem bræður bíða, í sal þar sem eldur brenn og sverð syngja. March to Valhalla, through snow and blood we go. No turning back again, our fate is carved in stone. Fánar falla í vindi en vilji stendur fast. Í hjarta hvers manns býr eilíf sänd. Síðasta skrefið tekið, blóð á hvítum snjó. Við deilum sem menn og lifum sem sögur. March to Valhalla, through fire, through the storm. We rise beyond the end, forever we are born. Storms rise over frozen land. Cold wind cuts like a blade in hand. We walk through snow, through blood, through fire, bound by fate, by oath, desire. No turning back, no path to save, only glory or the grave. Hear the drums beneath the sky, brothers, this is where we die. Valhalla is calling us home. Through the dark we march alone, steel and fire in our soul. We were born for this war. Ash and frost upon our skin, war begins, let chaos in. Shields collide and axes scream, death is closer than it seems. Falling slow but hearts burn bright, we become the storm tonight. Step by step into the flame, carving legends in our name. Valhalla is calling listen to the storm. Let the ancient gods be warned. We are sons of endless night, forged in war, reborn in fight. Hear the wolves, they run with us. Hear the thunder, feel the crush. Every step the earth will shake. Every breath the world will break. Valhalla is calling us home. Through the fire, through the cold. No fear left in our eyes. Only war, only pride. We do not kneel, we do not break. We do not run from what we take. If we fall, we rise again. In the halls beyond our pain. Violent faith, but we remain. In the sun. You breathe, you slow down, you come back to you, because your energy was never out there. It was always here, inside you. So you stop outsourcing it. No validation, no permission, just source, your source. And when you tap into that, everything changes. Now the energy moves, you create, you build, you express, you flow. Because energy that flows transforms, but energy that's blocked explodes. So you stay aware of your cycles, your emotions, your patterns. You adjust the lens over and over and over again until one day you realize something new that never controls you. It never held your power. It only showed you what was already there. So don't fear the light. Don't fear the intensity. That's not weakness. That's exposure. That's truth. That's your energy. Trying to break free. So observe it. Center it. Draw from yourself and let it flow. Because your power was never missing. It was only eclipsed. Its claws, I've seen its feast, it whispers lies, it feeds on fear, but I stand strong, the path is clear. Shadows crawl, though we may fall, deception spreads to choke us all. I won't be fooled, I won't come down. I raise my voice, I will not die. Rise from the ashes, break every chain. Truth is our weapon, fury and flame. The world may tremble, the night may scream, but we are stronger than what we've seen. I've beaten the base, I've faced the night, now stands with me to claim the fight. No lies, no more deceit, we rise as one, our hearts won't retreat. Truth is our weapon, fury of flame. The world may tremble, the night may scream, but we are stronger than what we've seen. I've beaten the base, I've faced the night, now stand for me to claim the fight. No more lies, no more deceit, we rise as one, our hearts won't retreat. Step forward, brother, sister, stand tall. Hear the call that shatters the wall. The beast will fall, its reign will end. We are the truth, we will defend. Shout it loud, let the mountains shake. We are the storm, we are awake. From the ashes, from the pain, we rise again, we rise again. I've been the pain, I've faced the night. No stand for me to claim the fight. No more lies, no more deceit. We rise as one, our hearts won't retreat. I know the beast, I face the beast, but we are many, our strength unleashed. Now step into the light, step and see who will rise, who will rise for me. Separation
You can see the writing on the pavement. Young kids, they're growing up in basements. Online, a whole new generation. I'ma make mine, so you better go take it. Always, they need a new replacement. Decentralized, can't contain it. We're changing lives, yeah, upgrading. Call it suicide of the older generation.
What keeps you up at night, yeah? Make all the demons quiet, yeah. We were built to thrive, yeah. I think that we've all had enough. What keeps you up at night, yeah? Make all the demons quiet, yeah. We were built to thrive, yeah. I think that we've all had enough. Oh, yeah. quiet, yeah. We were built to thrive, yeah. I think that we've all had enough. What keeps you up at night, yeah. Make all the demons quiet, yeah. We were built to thrive, yeah. I think that we've all had enough. Yeah, I think that we've all had enough. Sick of dealing with the old plan. They know that we're calling it wrong. You got me like, oh yeah, I think that we've all had enough. Sick of dealing with the old plan. They know that we're calling it wrong. I think that we've all had enough. Sick of dealing with the old plan. They know that we're calling it wrong. You got me like, oh yeah, I think that we've all had enough. Sick of dealing with the old plan. They know that we're calling it wrong.
Hey, what's happening, folks? I got a fairly large feline who is losing some weight right here in front of me, and I can't blame him for the spilled coffee, but I can blame him for running across the keyboard when I went out to get, oh good, he left. When I went out to get my creamer. So then I came back and spilled the coffee. So there you go. There you go. I'm Jeffrey Daugherty, the Christian whistleblower, saluting every one of you that's here, seeking after truth. If you find something that resonates with you here tonight, please go ahead and give it a like. If you find something you hate, please go ahead and give it a thumbs down. We're trying to defeat the evil algorithm. We want to defeat the evil algorithm. So we got a lot going on tonight. We got some good stuff. I'll be coming tonight from Randall Hilburn's essay. If you hear some stuff you like, that's probably Randall. If you hear some stuff you hate, it's probably me. So don't get mad at Randall. It's not his fault. And Sunday, I got to go out and make some money. So we're probably going to have a 9 p.m. start instead of our 7 p.m. start. Thank you, the kid. And we appreciate all of you being here. We really do love you all. Nice to see people also on Goyim, also on Odyssey. Trying to get the Odyssey channel hooked up so it automatically streams and saves. I think it just streams there now. So that's what we're doing tonight. The war between the sky gods and the earth gods. This is life-changing stuff. It really is. This is life-changing stuff. I just completed Sunday's slide deck moments before the show, and man, I want to tell you, it's going to be a good one. Very different, kind of weird, but that's okay. It's called The Return of the King. It has to do with Trump and Elvis and messiahs and all kind of stuff. So what do you say? We go ahead and kick this off. I do have a new Substack. It's the Christian whistleblower, but I don't think there's like an I or something in there. I had to condense it. I'll show it to you later. So that's where we're at. I think we've got over 100 subscribers already, even a paid subscriber. So I will be doing, I've already put up some subscriber only material, and I'm going to use that to roll out all of our deep stuff that we can get in trouble for here. All right. So let's get this party started. What do you say? What do you say?
Because the director, am I right in thinking his first language isn't English?
That is correct.
Yeah.
You both coming into French, and I'm going to be a bit more over.
He's French Canadian, so he speaks French as a first language.
But when you're working
Just for fun.
with people that don't understand French, it's, I think it gets a little complicated. He is a really emotionally intelligent guy, but he would say the weirdest things. He said something really, they're very inappropriate.
He said, I loved that very much, and I will now take you from behind. I think you mistook me. I mean, I will take you from behind, but use a camera. I'm like, no, that's not getting any better today.
He's like, Amy, I'm going to come very close here, and focus, he says us instead of focus. It's like, Jeremy, and then I'm going to come over here, take the camera, and now I come on your face.
Wow. Not that there's anything wrong with that in general, but You know, what do you know? That explains a lot, Dagger. I didn't know you were a Quebecer. I guess if you're a girl, I could call you a Quebecois. But hey, and you know, speaking of that, I had an interesting conversation today. Um, I went out to get the mail because I got this book. Dagger put me onto this book, and it better be good, Dagger. I'll blame you because it wasn't cheap. It's called The Book of Wisdom. And so far, the first page is really cool. It's a book full of like graphs and charts and stuff like that. So I'm really looking forward to digging into it. But I came back and there was this guy at the bury our AT&T fiber cable, and he was, you know, I could obviously see he was Hispanic, but I'm like talking to him. He's like, "Oh no, senor, very little English." And I mean, you talking about very little English? We're talking about very, very little English. So I came into the house and I went out to Cynthia. She was on the back porch talking with somebody. I don't know how you get hired by ATT if you can't speak a little bit of English, but that's okay. And I said to her, the senor, and this other person was listening, the senor is out burying the cable. If he knocks on the door, he doesn't speak any English. This girl looks at me and says, just like this, "That is so racist, bro." Now, the old Jeff, it would have been on. But I'm the new Chase Hughes, you know, kindler, gentler Jeff. So I just immediately reframed the conversation. I said, "I know that you want to be offended by that. But the point I was trying to make is that he can't speak English. So if Cynthia needs to talk to him, then I wanted her to be aware." And then she started talking to me about how bad nicotine was for you, because I showed off my new stash. I got a new stash today. And this person, well, anyway, I handle myself pretty well. It's always nice to catch yourself in a growth moment. So I thought I'd just share that. You know, this is therapy for me. A little bit of sharing, but let's move on. What do you say?
On the fiery street.
Just for fun.
Late at night, I toss and I turn and I dream of what I need. I need a hero. I'm holding out for a hero till the end of the night. He's gotta be strong and he's gotta be fast.
Wow.
And he's gotta be fresh from the fight. I need a hero. I'm holding out for a hero till the morning light. He's gotta be sure and he's gotta be soon and he's gotta be larger than life, larger than life. Somewhere after midnight in my wildest fantasy, someone just beyond my reach, there's someone reaching.
That's some pretty cool stuff, whether, you know, you're into that or not. I just thought that was kind of cool, you know. Just for fun. My new alarm.
Get the fuck out of bed, bitch. Go. Get up, and they got go.
I want that robe.
Time to wake up, bitch. Get up. Get up. Get up.
Just for fun. Just for fun. Okay, we'll get a little serious now, I think.
Traveling with your man is supposed to be fun.
Well,
but
not
not
really.
today. How fun is it to take a flight with your boyfriend just to find out he booked himself first class tickets on that flight? You get to ride in economy. Dare to say that at this point would be whenever I would know that this trip was not going to be fun.
Kylie's going to hate me for this, but she kind of looks like an economy kind of chick. Oh!
Fun. This would be honestly where I would start to question everything. Not just this trip, not just the flights, not just our seats,
I want that robe.
but the entire relationship. This looks like an international flight.
My
This is
birthday's
first
coming
class, okay? He's getting like his own little cabin right here. After showing her his first class seat, her boyfriend is then kind enough to walk her back to her seat, which looks like this. Again, it has to be international because
What's she
honestly, looking
bitching
at this,
about?
I'm like, that's still a huge seat. But when
You
you're
got a headset?
comparing it to the person you're traveling with, not just a friend, your boyfriend, and he's booking first class tickets, so you get booked this, I have nothing but questions. If this was all his doing, and this trip ends, and you're still with this man, I have a whole lot of questions for you.
How much you want to bet that her boyfriend's an ortho boy? I'm just saying. I'm just saying. But she does kind of look like a coach kind of chick. See, Kylie, that's what I thought you would object to. I didn't say anything about taters, but she kind of looked like a coach type of girl to me. You know, I mean, first class. Now, if you're traveling with Kylie Dugan, you put her in first class and you sit in the back. But, you know, hey, I'm just saying.
People finding out what Fossil Ridge Park is in California is hilarious because it's a scam. Yes, it is an actual alleged park in the hills of California. The only reason it exists is because of this road, Mulholland Drive, which is where the uber wealthy live. We're talking Jack Nicholson, Beyonce, Mr. Beyonce, The Weeknd, Kylie Jenner. The kind of wealth that whenever you look these roads up on maps, you
Listen
can't
up.
even find a street view. I'm talking about this little street view that automatically comes up whenever you type up an address. Even this fake park, you type it up and it will put up a street view of it. The entire reason this park exists and why this land was given to the US government to be a park is so that they could develop all of these roadways you see around the park. The developers who wanted the uber rich to be able to live here had to first get all the paperwork cleared to be able to start construction. But what better way than to give over hundreds of acres? This park boasts about being hiking friendly, dog friendly, kid friendly, bragging about not only this, but the fact that it is a prolific site where fossils have been found.
Okay, she lost me, but still, yes, Dagger, that's my point. Do you remember all those names that she listed as being there living on that street? And what this screams out to me is some Taylor Swift style ritual hunting grounds, a private hunting ground. It's just kind of like, it makes me wonder. Well, Arthur King, I'm going to take you literally. There's these uber rich that they will invite people over for like a pizza party, and then they'll set them free to go run around and they'll hunt them. They will hunt them literally. So I'm just saying, it kind of sounds like a potential ritual hunting ground to this researcher. What was I thinking about here? What was I thinking about here? I don't know what I was thinking about here. But it is an interesting. Oh, this is a tie back to the follow-up on the Jesus Priest, Not What You Think, our deprogram from Sunday. And I know some of you, if you haven't watched it, it's on this channel. It's right up there. It's the last one. And we proved from the Bible and the Bible alone that Jesus is a priest of Moloch forever. And, it goes all the way back to Moses. I think Colleen sent this over. In Numbers 31 talks about Moses commanding the Israelites to kill a Midianite boy, to kill the Midianite children. And the Latter-day Saints also weighed in and said that Moses held the Melchizedek priesthood, which is Moloch. Jesus is a priest forever in the priesthood of Moloch. I didn't say it. The book of Hebrews said it. Go watch the last show and look it up. And The Latter-day Saints suggest that Moses received his priesthood from Melchizedek, and he is to lead Israel. So there you go. And according to Genesis 14, Melchizedek was the king of Salem, and he brought out the original Eucharist, the original communion. And this is widely seen by even Bethlehem College, which, of course, is a Christian college, that this offering of Melchizedek, which was Moloch, represents the offering of the bread and wine. If you're Catholic, you admit that it's real flesh and real blood. If you're a Protestant, you pretend that it's not. So now that we know from that last deprogram, and you can check it out, it wasn't me saying it, it was the Bible. Melchizedek was and is Moloch. Yeah, that Moloch. And he's an archetype of Jesus. And Melchizedek, Jesus offered the bread and wine to Abraham, the same thing that Jesus does, offering his body and his blood. And of course, Moloch equals child sacrifice. And again, the Catholics don't pretend, the Protestants do. But when Jesus said, "This do in remembrance of me," he was literally saying, "This do in remembrance of Moloch." Just want to give you something to think about. Just want to give you something to think about a little bit.
What have we got here? That shape, that curve, it looks like a fossil. I don't know, guys. I am really on the fence about the whole thing with dragons. Let's see what this guy's got. Trick of the light. I don't know.
Dude,
I guess we'll find out, right?
Up, you know.
How do people even find these things? How much time are you spending on Google Earth? Cliffs, untouched land. Untouched to an extent. There's people literally there, so. Okay. Okay.
Wow.
I don't know. Is that my pareidolia kicking in, or am I seeing a dragon?
If it looks like a dragon,
that's pretty compelling, right?
If it walks like a dragon, it might just be a damn dragon.
Everyone needs to see this video.
If Mr. Black and Mr. White live next door to each other, they have the same job, the same income, the same car, the same furniture. Yeah. They both walk out of the house in the morning. Good morning, Mr. Black. Good morning, Mr. White. Yeah. But Mr. White is still looking, but you got something that I don't have.
You're saying he's saying that subconsciously.
Saying, right.
Now, wait a minute. All right, we'll give you a chance in just a moment.
In reality, white skin is a genetic recessive status, not as said by Francis Welsing. Even though the white population says that people of color are minorities, you're genetically inferior because you are non-white. That it is the white population that is the minority. The minority on the planet.
True. That's the reality.
That's the reality. That in spite of the fact that black people, non-white people have heard over and over again,
meaning that if you and I were to have a baby, the baby would have color, and you make the contribution and I don't.
That white plus colored. Well, wait a minute. It's not Francis.
Wait a minute, though. Let me just say this. You know, I'm here in the greater Kansas City area, and what's his name? The quarterback, Mahomes. He's half black, and he married a white girl. And they got 2 kids that are as white as I am. So, you know, take everything with a grain of salt, but I think she's making an interesting point.
Francis Welsing that is concerned about the disappearance of white. There have been multiple articles in the newspaper talking about the decline of Western populations.
Here, incidentally, This was the percentage of the West's population in 1900, the turn of this century, about 30%. This is where we'll be less than 10% in the year 2075. Here's where we are about today, 15. So we're not having babies.
So whites are not having babies, and there is the concern about white genetic annihilation. In other words, I look at, this is Dr. Martin Luther King's birthday holiday, and people will say, well, here's a man who talked about love. Why was he killed? And I say that the deeper logic is, what if all black and white people and non-white people and white people love? What would happen to white people? White would disappear. You see, just mix all of the people on the planet up
In other words,
together.
if race didn't matter, or if color didn't matter, it follows with the jet plane.
No, I'm not saying if it didn't matter. I'm saying that indeed if there was a mingling, if we mixed all of the people presently on the planet, stirred them up,
The white freckle-faced people would be gone.
genetic recessive status would disappear, because we have the greatest genetic potential to cause white genetic annihilation.
Because you're the blackest.
Because we, right,
the most color.
right, we have this ability to produce melanin pigment. We have more of it than anybody else. And so the most pressure is on black people.
So the point here that I wanted you to take from this is that white people are the minority. They're trying to target us, and they're also trying to bait us into race mixing. Now, you know that, this whole segment is we're not alone. I believe that we have a lot of black, brown, red, and yellow heathens that hate the way this world is going just as much as we have. And the fact remains that our race is being targeted, and our race is being targeted subliminally. So what I'm trying to say is be proud of your race and don't mix. White people are disappearing. And I don't know if this lady meant to say that she hopes that race will go away, but that's exactly what Galatians 3:28 and Tikkun Olam, which we'll talk about on Sunday, I think, are all about. Trying to get rid of white people, trying to get rid of every race except for the Proto-Abrahamic race. And this world needs our races. They want a light tan slave race. Don't mix. Have babies. That's all I'm saying. And if you don't, you're playing into the white annihilation agenda. And it also waters down all the other races. We need all the races. All the races have something to contribute. In my humble opinion, I'll get off my soapbox now. Well, probably not.
Mothers, stop this.
Mothers, stop
Dad
this.
locked out, but let multiple strangers around her kids. How does that make sense? She says that dad can't be a parent because he's dangerous, violent, or whatever excuse that she pulls out of her. But Joe Schmo, she met 3 weeks ago on Hinge, he's already spending the night, feet on the couch, playing house in front of the kids. Dad needs a court order just to get a weekend, but stranger number one, he gets full access to everything after one good date. She'll cry out in court that he's unstable, then post pics of stranger number two kissing her kid goodnight. Dad built the crib, changed the diapers, paid the bills, but now he's labeled unsafe. But the random dude with the motorcycle, totally safe. She blocks Dad's calls, but lets Tinder Chad walk around in boxers at breakfast. Then the kids ask, why can't Daddy stay? And the mom says, he's toxic. Then next week, hey, kids, call this guy Daddy. He's your new daddy. Dad begs for FaceTime, but stranger number three is already teaching them how to play Fortnite. She'll fight you in court for years, but hand the keys to a man she barely knows. What in the actual is that? Dad's love is dangerous, but random dude's dick inside of her is not. Kids see it, they feel it, they're confused as hell. Dad's replaced faster than a tampon. And she says, I'm protecting them from the one man who would die for them, while inviting chaos through the front door. This isn't protection. This is replacement and manipulation, and it's honestly just cruel. Some would say it's a form of child abuse. Dads, start documenting everything because the truth needs to come out. Your kids need a father, not her flavor of the month.
I like it. And if you notice, it's a black presenter putting that out. The black presenters putting that out. And we got the Black Hebrew Israelites showing up in the chat. They got
the
better.
CEO of America's biggest pizza chain just said 5 words on a call this morning that should scare anyone holding fast food stocks. Domino's missed sales. The stock dropped 9% to $3.35. And on the call, CEO Russell Weiner pointed the finger at one thing nobody wanted to hear: the customer. If a $7 pizza chain is losing customers, your McDonald's, Chipotle, and Starbucks bags are next. This is the first quarter a major CEO said it out loud. And that kind of language usually marks the start of a sector-wide drop, not the end of one. Here's the part that Wall Street is missing. Analysts have been calling a consumer recession for 2 years and have been wrong every time. But Domino's is the cheapest, most defensive name in fast food. When the bottom of the pricing ladder breaks first, that's a real signal. Every chain trading at a premium price is now exposed. Comment Upside if you want to see what other investors are doing in real time and benchmark your portfolio against them. And follow Upside Invest for more breakdowns like this every single day.
And I still don't get the holding the lapel mic thing, but if you want to get more of this content, go on my channel and just search Old World Florida Live. You'll find this video. And we talked about how fast food, and I think HT calls it goy slop, it was invented to target the white race. And I'm pretty damn happy that their stocks are crashing. But you know what? That's just me. That's just me.
Yo, this dude just exposed the dark truth about your friends.
Always trust everyone to be themselves, but trust in the fact that you can see them well. Trust a snake to bite you. Trust a lion to lie for you. Trust a thief to steal from you. Like, trust them to be them, but know them when you see them.
And that's facts. So here are 5 rules that you should follow to spot a snake before it bites. And the last one, most people don't see that until it's too late. Rule number 1, people always show you who they are before they tell you. The signs were always there, you just didn't have the eyes for it yet. Rule number 2, patterns don't lie. What people do repeatedly is the most honest thing they'll ever tell you. Number 3 is gonna make a lot of people uncomfortable, but the fact is betrayal never comes from an enemy. The 4th thing is that you could never operate at a high level if you're constantly trying to manage people who have already showed you who they are. And number 5, don't waste time trying to change people. Just stop picking up the snakes. If I missed anything, let me know in the comment section.
This is one of the big reasons why I'm not really trying to appeal to Christians all that much anymore. I'm just not, because I'm tired of picking up snakes. You get bit enough times and you realize that you're wasting your time. But when someone shows you who they are, believe them. This is a guy that's had 4 weddings, only 1 official marriage, but I've had 4 weddings, and I may not be a relationship expert, but I am a fucking up a relationship expert. And the biggest problem you have is the biggest problem I had. You start painting red flags green, throw away the damn green paint, and quit being stupid. I can't say it any plainer than that. Just quit being stupid. Yeah, life is tough and it's harder if you're stupid.
Here's a strange thing to consider. There is a mental illness that affects roughly 1 in 100 people. It doesn't care about your age, background, or diet. It shows up at roughly the same rate across most of human civilization and is one of the most robustly replicated findings in all of psychiatry. I'm talking about schizophrenia. And yet, as far as we know, no person born blind has ever been diagnosed with schizophrenia. Now, that's the kind of finding that seems too neat, too strange, but it keeps appearing across different countries, decades, and research groups who weren't looking for it. The pattern is consistent enough that psychiatrists had to take it seriously, which meant neuroscientists had to actually try to explain it. And the explanation says something quite profound about what brains are actually for. Here's the key idea. Your brain isn't a camera. It doesn't just passively receive sensory information and report back what it found. What it's actually doing is closer to forecasting. It holds this running model of the world built from everything you've ever experienced, and it uses that model to predict what's about to happen. The sights, the sounds, the feeling of the phone in your hand right now. Your brain has already guessed all of that before the signals even arrive. Most of the time, the predictions are good enough that you never notice. The info comes in, matches the model, and you get on with your day. However, when there's a mismatch, that's when your brain pays attention. The error signal fires and the model updates. In schizophrenia, something in that process goes wrong. The error signal fires when it shouldn't. The model updates in response to things that aren't there. That becomes a hallucination or delusion. If you've never had visual input from day one, your brain never builds a visual predictive model in the first place, and thus no forecast to get wrong. Researchers think this might be why people born blind don't get schizophrenia. The predictive system of a sighted brain simply doesn't exist in the same form. This protection seems to be specific to early blindness, because losing your vision as an adult has the opposite effect. Late onset visual impairment is associated with higher rates of psychosis-like symptoms, which makes sense. Your brain spent decades building a detailed visual model of the world, and now that visual input went dark, the forecaster kept working, but the data stopped arriving. What I find so fascinating about all of this is what it implies about the connection between our senses and the brain. We tend to think of mental illness as something that lives purely inside the brain: chemicals, genetics, neural circuitry. And it is those things. But this suggests that the sensory experience you have or don't have from the very beginning of your life shapes your brain's architecture in ways that reach way beyond just perception. One of the most debilitating psychiatric conditions known to medicine may be held at bay by the simple fact of never having seen the world at all. Make of that what you will. If you like science worth sharing like this, then follow us everywhere at Today Learn Science, at TIL Science.
I just wonder, the eyes are the window of your soul. So if your eyes aren't functional, is it as easy for entities to enter you? And I'm not saying that all schizophrenia is entity induced. Oh, we got an update. Dead Wolf just got an email from FTJ Media, which means Fear the Jew Media. They're shutting down. They ran me off the air because they didn't like what I had to say. So in response to them shutting down, all I can really say is, woo! 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 I'm not shutting down. How about that, bitches? Sorry. You got an unfiltered moment, but damn! Proven right again. And somebody said revenge is a dish best served cold. I think his name was Shakespeare. No, it means fear the Jew. See what I'm doing with that, Dead Wolf? But anyway, revenge is oftentimes delicious. Woo!
My name is Brett, and I've been a Corona resident in District 4 for 15 years. I'm here to introduce DFLOC Corona, a community coalition asking this council to cancel the city's contract with Flock Safety and remove the cameras that have been deployed throughout our city. Our website is dflock-corona.org. I'm here because new Flock cameras were recently installed between my home and my daughter's school. So now every time I make that drive, my family's being photographed and logged into a giant corporate database. I want to be clear what these cameras actually are, and I say that with somebody with 20 years of experience in IT. I've served as the chief network architect for Fortune 500 companies. I've designed data centers, and today I work on cloud infrastructure for one of the largest loan origination companies in the country. I'm not speculating on how this technology works. I've read their patents, and I know how it works. Flock advertises these cameras as simple license plate readers. Their own patents tell a different story. They're AI-powered surveillance machines that capture every passing vehicle and person and transmit that data to a private corporate cloud, making it queryable by a multitude of state and federal agencies. The city of Corona does not control that database, and Corona residents have no public record rights against a private company's servers. Our daily movements are being harvested by a $7.5 billion corporation that only answers to venture capital investors, not to us.
So how do you feel about that? And I'm going to show you something I think on Sunday. You will not believe where This same exact technology is being deployed. You won't believe it. I don't think I brought it here. I think it comes next week. I think.
This year was a glitch, not a mistake, not an accident, a calculated malfunction. And you're not supposed to be here. It started in 2020, the last time anything actually mattered, the last time the world was on its true path. Since then,
what the hell?
You've been noticing it, haven't you? Dates that
what?
feel off, weather that doesn't match the season, conversations that loop, people saying this year flew by, but they don't remember why, because they're not really here anymore. And neither are you.
Oh, hell.
This version of reality, it's not the original. It's a rendered copy, barely holding together. That's why you feel exhausted even after sleeping.
How many of you are into this? I don't buy it, but I know a lot of people are into it. A lot of people talk about this. I don't buy it. I think it's just more fear porn, but I know a lot of people are interested in it. So I thought I would go ahead and just share it with you because it is interesting. And of course, Trump, the Trump conundrum goes right in with the Palantir, who is the, what's his name? Thiel is the mentor of J.D. Vance. So they know exactly what they're doing, and they're not going to do anything to impede it. They're going to push it forward with, well, warp speed. And I'm right. That's for fun again.
Shaking at the knees. Can I come again, please? Yeah, the
So the real reason I played that is to call your attention to this part right here. I mean, those things are cool. Those things are amazing. Those things are outstanding. It gives Her Majesty the shivers, that and me. You know what I'm talking about. Well, UFO experts are warning that military mysterious craft are outmaneuvering U.S. military in restricted airspaces. So as awesome as that is, we got stuff that is flying circles around them. That's right. I said it. I know some of you think I'm crazy, but did you hear FTJ is closing down? Woo! Crazy like a fox is what they call me. Crazy like a silver fox.
Gemini Control here again. Earlier in the flight, you'll recall at the start of the second revolution, we had a reference to several objects that the crew spotted. This was in the area of Antigua. Due to a mechanical breakdown, we did not have that portion of the tape available for you. This was a line breakdown between Building 30 and our news center in Building 6. Since then, we have dubbed a tape off the master tape here in the control center, and we are now prepared to play it for you. It contains references to sighting not only some particles, but as well as an unidentified object, plus the booster. Here's that tape. We'll play it for you now.
Loud and clear. 7, go ahead. This is Houston. Say again, 7. Roger. Gemini 7, is that the booster or is that an actual sighting? Say again, 7. You have any more information, estimated distance or size? Understand you also have the booster in sight, Roger. Particles going by to the left out about 3 to 4 miles. Understand you have many small particles going by on the left. At what distance? Perhaps a vehicle that's disintegrated. Understand they're about 3 to 4 miles away. They're past now. They're going to pull off. Understand they were about 3 to 4 miles away. Gemini 7, Houston, were these particles in addition to the booster and the bogey at 10 o'clock high? Go ahead. Roger, what direction is it from you?
It's about at my 2 o'clock position.
Does that mean it's ahead of you? Roger.
OS 91. No Fox 91. No Fox 191. Say again.
Gemini Control here again. The reference in that conversation to the third unidentified object, of course, the third object was bogey. There were several references to the bogey. This is the unidentified object in addition to particles which appeared to be headed in a polar orbit, you heard Frank Borman say, plus Jim Lovell discussing the booster. It was Borman who reported sighting the bogey. This is Gemini Control Houston at 4 hours, 24 minutes into the flight.
So the audio recording that you just listened to was recorded on December 5th of 1965 from NASA's Gemini 7 mission that was taking place from December 4th through the 18th of 1965, crewed by Frank Borman, who was the command pilot, and Jim Lovell, who was the pilot. About 4 hours and 24 minutes into the flight, Borman reported an unidentified object that they referred to as bogey, and he told Mission Control in Houston that he saw this thing. The crew also observed the spent Titan II booster rocket and numerous small particles.
So I keep telling you, and one of these days you'll believe me, just like I said for years, that we're the last generation of real humans. And I always got, what the hell are you talking about? They don't ask me that anymore. I'm not saying there's not plasma beings and plasma bodies, but there are advanced craft, far more advanced than what we have. And it's my studied conviction that they're standing by, waiting for our people to stand up. And there's a great armada that won't come back and save us, but they will come back and help us. Are you ready to stand up now? Are you ready to stand with me? I think it's about time.
This is exactly why I told y'all that I was exceptionally concerned about this specific hantavirus outbreak. The World Health Organization has confirmed that the hantavirus strain in this cruise ship outbreak is the one that is spread from human to human contact, the Andes variant. As I mentioned in my initial video, the Andes variant is the only strain of hantavirus known to be spread from human to human contact.
Y'all aren't going to be stupid enough to fall for this again, are you? And remember, we showed that Hanta in Hebrew means foolish, farce, and you're so stupid you'll believe this again. They'll believe this again. I agree with you, Zero David, and that may be true for the invaders from the other side, but I'm telling you, and you'll find out soon enough, there's somebody out there ready to help us when we're ready to stand up. They won't come save us, but they'll come help us if we ever decide to get the hell up off of our knees and stand. So, with that, let's wrap this part of it up and talk about this whole thing they're doing. You remember that J.D. Vance said that aliens are demons. Well, Colleen sent this over, and do you know what that word demon comes from? It's a made-up word by the Abrahamic matrix, because a daemon is the original Greek term, and that's a heathen term, obviously. And you know what daemon means? It means a divine spirit, a lesser deity, and a guardian spirit that helps you guide your fate. And they are similar to our inner voice or destiny, and they are benevolent. So you can't have a bunch of heathens running around thinking that they've got these guardian spirits that lead them and guide them. Most of them are probably your ancestors. And this is what you're giving away, in my opinion. Are you willing to give this away and turn a benevolent spirit into a demon? Why do you think they changed the word from daemon to demon? It's almost like they're trying to scare you away from your ancestors. It's almost like they're trying to scare you away from your gods and goddesses. It's almost like they're trying to scare you away from your people. And you've got choices. And I think it's about time you start making them. So, on to the hantavirus. This is what got me kicked off of YouTube the first time. Hopefully it won't get me kicked off of YouTube this time. But this hantavirus, and this is something that Cynthia has, it's actually a document that I took screenshots of. Sorry for my lousy circling there. But this is a list of adverse conditions that were and are a result of the cupcake. And guess what is listed as a adverse event that comes directly from the cupcake? Hantavirus. And like Colleen asked, if hantavirus is so contagious that it killed Gene Hackman's wife, why didn't she spread it? They were seen in public many, many times, but don't worry. It's really not going to take years to develop a vaccine, which is what that boring lady was saying before I cut her off. King Warp Speed is on it. He'll get you a hantavirus in Warp Speed. And if you're, I'm sorry, Cynthia, but I can't think of a better word. If you're stupid enough to fall for it again, you out of the gene pool. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying.
When Petrarch survives the Black Death after losing so many friends, he gets a letter. 2 of his friends are alive. He had given up that anyone he knew would survive. They're going to come visit him. On the way, they were attacked by bandits, and one of them was killed, and the other was lost in the mountains and wounded, and he didn't know that his friend was alive for another year and a half. And Petrarch looks around him and says, this is an age of ash and shadow. What we need is to imitate the arts of the ancients. Let's try to figure out how the Romans did it. And specifically, the problem is our leaders. Our leaders are selfish. Our leaders care more about their wealth and their family honor and their power than they do about the people. Petrarch reads about the ancient Roman Brutus. Brutus, one of the first consuls of Rome, and he learned while in office that his sons were plotting to take over the state and make him king. So he executed him.
Isn't it awesome that finally somebody's saying, maybe we should go back to the ancient ways that worked? Maybe we should go back to the ancient ways that worked and forget about these modern ways that don't work. And if it wasn't for the rampant spread, in my opinion, of the real virus, which is the Judeo-Christian Abrahamic virus, and you'd also have to include Islam, we didn't have any world wars until we had these world religions. Thought you might want to consider that fact.
What if you've already died, but your consciousness jumped to a timeline where you survived?
Oh, hell.
Number 8 will make you question every close call you've ever had. Here's 10 disturbing signs you've already died and jumped to another timeline.
Sweet
1.
Jesus.
You never experience your own death. Quantum immortality theory says your consciousness can only exist in timelines where you're alive. Every time you die in one reality, you instantly shift to a timeline where you survived. You never experience death, you just keep waking up.
That's the way it's supposed to be. And if you want to know more about that, go on my channel, search this, The Destroyer and Quantum Immortality. We did this not too long ago, and you'll get some good information there. I promise.
This is the creepiest thing I've ever seen. You got to watch this.
Hey everyone. Hey everyone. I just wanted to quickly make this video to prove to you that we can no longer trust anything that we see with our eyes. We can't trust images that we see on social media. We can't trust videos.
That's crazy.
We can't trust our friends. We can't trust the news. We can't trust anything or anyone. So be careful out there.
Words of wisdom. Words of wisdom. And with that, we're ready to rock on into this great deep program tonight. The war between the sky gods and the earth gods. I'm Jeffrey Dahmer, the Christian whistleblower, and this is what we're here to talk about tonight. So let's go ahead and jump right into it. Again, this is from an article written by Randall Hilburn, and the article is entitled "The War of the Sky Gods and Governments of the Earth versus the Earth Gods and the People of the Earth." And you would think this would be a scary, revelation, apocalypse, but it's really a journey of discovery that if you allow it, it's going to change your entire world. It'll give you hope. It'll give you inspiration. It'll give you peace that will pass. I don't know why it wants to do this. I even practiced this today, and it didn't do that. So I don't know what the hell's going on, but we'll just have to leave those up there a little bit. Now what? I swear. I don't know what's going on, folks. I guess I'm going to have to leave it up there. I might as well show it if it's going to be up there. Some of you can see the screen. So we'll go ahead and show it. It's a lot easier for me, and I think it's a lot more elegant than OBS was. It just works better for me. So why can't I just do me? I don't get it. All of these buttons down here. I'm usually pretty decent with technology, but evidently not this time. I don't get it. Oh, if I stop sharing, that might help. So where am I? Where am I? Where am I? I guess we're going to have to leave it like that. So why can't I share the screen and have it be like that? That's what I'd really like to do. So if I share now, will it give it to me? Sorry, guys. It's tasking me, and well, crap. But anyway, let's talk about this. And tonight we're going to talk about, if I can get myself off of this, maybe. This is talking about the entire course of history, and specifically the entire course of the Proto-Abrahamics invasion of this universe. We're not just talking about the end days, which I'm confident will wake up and stand up, and it'll lead to the final defeat and expulsion of these invaders. And it's going to pave the way for the renaissance of our beautiful Earth, and it will bring a new golden age, which is going to enable the Germanic Earth Mother. Her name is Nertha. That's where we get the name Earth from. And it's going to allow us to become the true paradise that she was always intended to be, and not the perverted, horrible ideas of this Abrahamics matrix. That's what we've got to get away from. And these Proto-Abrahamics have been here for about 7,000 years, which perfectly corresponds to the heathen idea of an age cycle, which lasts about 250 years, right around 7,000 years. And when I'm talking about the sky gods, hey, John from Tulsa, nice to see you. When I'm talking about the sky gods, I'm talking about those gods and those philosophies that are characterized by oppression, domination, and exploitation without any regard for the peoples of Earth or the Earth herself. This term, human resources, that we all just accept, that's what they see us as, just a human resource. And our beautiful Earth is considered only a natural resource. And they think that these are resources that are to be exploited for their use. And the thing to understand is that the sky gods are not native to Earth, and they only have a utilitarian attachment to the Earth. They just want to use it up and use its people up so they can move on to another Earth. They are vampiric beings. They exist in a vampiric paradigm, and that categorizes their attitude towards men, women, and towards the entire universe, really. And they must be stopped here, and they must be stopped now, and if not by us, by whom, and if not now, when. It's taken them to 6,000 years, but they pretty much seized control over every single government and institution on this planet. And that's enabling them to vampirize humans and rape the earth. This is the sky gods doing what they do. And you know, we got ticks here, and I try to get mad at ticks, but this is kind of interesting. I go out every day, I sit in my chair, I put my feet in the grass, and I get some sun, grounding, getting some sun. And I was always getting ticks on me. But for the last 3 days, when I sat down, I'm going old school, folks. I'm going back to who I am. And I said, in the name of Jeffrey of O'Daharte, no ticks are allowed to get on me. And for 3 days, not a tick has got on me. And I really think that the ticks are a physical manifestation of the fear and guilt, blood magic, Judeo-Christian mind control matrix. So the Abrahamic sky gods, according to their own confession, we heard it from Rabbi Michael Laitman, they arrived from another planet, from off planet. But the earth gods, our gods, they come from earth. And the earth gods consider earth to be their home, in contrast to these aliens that see the earth and her people only as resources to be exploited. And the peoples of the earth are those peoples who naturally belong here. So therefore, the earth gods identify with them. And this is a natural, a holistic approach in which the earth gods, true humans, and earth are deeply intertwined with one another. And in addition, there are now some that are known as earth gods that actually did come from somewhere else in the cosmos. And we came here, and I did say we came here on a rescue mission, a deliverance mission. And we've come to be identified with the earth. And most people remember somewhere in their ancestral memory that we are deliverers. Now, some of us have decided to adopt earth as our home, and that's fine. But in both cases, earth is at least temporarily their home, our home. And we're being mobilized now to defend earth from the existential threat posed by these invading parasites, these sky gods. Now, some of you remember Joseph Campbell. We had him on this deep program a while back. I guess he's passed away. That wasn't Joseph Campbell. Who was that? The guy that was chain smoking and quit smoking. We had him on too, but I can't remember. But he gave a talk, and he said he knew he didn't have much time left. And he said, hey, you know what? I'm finally free to say what I know. No job to protect, didn't have much time left. And he went on to say that scientists have long been aware, but they've not been allowed to talk about the fact that there's at least 5 separate origins for the human race. Now, this blows away the lazy, woke concept of mankind being genetically engineered by some bumbling sub-deities. Our gods didn't create by trial and error. It was boom, it happened. There's no one-size-fits-all explanation for this human experience. We know where the Abrahamics originate from, somewhere else. But the races of true men do come from different origins. Most of them terrestrial. But what about the Aryans? My people, where did we come from? Now, I realize that not all of you are Aryans, but this does come into play for all peoples. In my nearly 200,000 hours of research in the biblical scriptures, I have been led to conclude, as of today, May 13th, 2026, that there's really only 3 peoples that recognize the literal descendants of the higher spirits and the gods. There's only 3 people that really get it as a race. Number 1's the Aryans, us white people. Number 2, the Japanese. And those people that now we commonly call the American Indians. Now, the Japanese are probably Aryans of some manner. That's another deprogram. But this brings us to the absolute necessity of me having to mount once again my virtual soapbox and once again pontificate to Smoochie's chagrin on one of my favorite hobby horses. That would be the Flat Earth Movement. Now, let me say this. The Flat Earth Movement does have some great information. It serves as a great motivation to expand our thought, at least initially. But, and I've got a whole deep program lined up for this, the Flat Earth Movement has been hijacked, by and large, almost 100%, by the sky gods. And what they're doing is muddying the waters. And now Flat Earth has become a trap. We're caught in a trap to lock awakening humans back into the Abrahamic matrix of the sky gods. Because if you don't believe in the Bible, you can't be in the Flat Earth Movement. Take it from a guy that tried it. I drove all the way to Nashville. I tried to go on their shows. I tried to buddy up with them. Hey, I'm all about it, but I'm not Christian. And they don't want you. They don't want you. The Flat Earth Movement has been hijacked by the Abrahamics. And none of us will really know until we get far enough out to see it. And I've been 40,000 feet up on the back of an Air Force jet, so I know a little bit about what I'm talking about. And the seed of truth in the Flat Earth Movement is that this Earth is not what we think she is. It's not what we've been told. But Cynthia first said this line to me, and it's brilliant. The exact shape of the Earth simply does not matter until we fix the shape she's in. And when you get into the Flat Earth Movement, it locks you into the Abrahamic matrix, which makes it impossible and actually puts you in league with the people that are destroying our beautiful Earth. Our beautiful Earth. I will get off my soapbox. I do know who Marcus Welby is. So to put it plainly, the Aryan gods, the ancient Aryans, which are actually gods and demigods, and, you know, as much as it pains me to say it, Dagger and John from Tulsa will understand this, the LDS, the Mormons, they're actually on to something here. Because Joseph Smith had a heavy Aryan pagan knowledge of these things. And they, of course, teach a form of this demigodness. They saw the necessity of restoring, the Aryans did, divinity, sovereignty, and freedom to all the peoples of the earth and to the rest of the universe. We were called here to stop the spread of the Abrahamic sky god virus before it enslaves everybody everywhere. However, being essentially, as we can comprehend it in our limited capacities, being spirit, the true 100% sky gods can't stay for extended periods of time in this material time-space matrix of the Abrahamics, which has conquered this earth, So the earth is real, the earth is divine, the earth is beautiful, but we are living in a overlay over the beautiful earth. So you folks that believe in assimilation are right to a degree. You folks that don't believe in assimilation are right to a degree. And I guess that means there's error on both sides. That's why truly intelligent people, and I try to consider myself this, are able to hold competing thoughts in their mind simultaneously, because that allows you to continue to draw in information from both sides, and more information will equal better decisions in the long run. So, in order to have a presence on Earth to continue the fight against the Proto-Abrahamic invaders, the Aryans had to set aside their long-standing no mixing principle. And they actually had to mate with real Earth humans. We actually had to mate with some real Earth humans. It's tough work, but somebody's got to do it. Because who knows? You know, there used to be an old movie, Earth girls are hot. And that's true. But in order to facilitate the purification of the planet, we had to mate with real Earth humans to give birth to children that could carry the Aryan message and genes to their fellow Earth peoples. And this is the true esoteric message that's being inverted by the Genesis 6 lie. The sons of God were us. And we did see the daughters of men, and they were hot. And we started mating with them, not because it was a sin, not because it was a fall, not because we couldn't control ourselves, but because it was a deliberate, planned, like I said, it's hard work, but somebody's got to do it. It was a deliberate, planned initiative because we couldn't stay here long term in this material matrix. We had to give birth to the children that could carry this Aryan message and genes to the rest of the earth. And this is why it's so important for those of you that are born white or Aryan not to mix your blood, because you're watering down the message. And that's why Galatians 3:28 was written, to do away with race, to do away with sex, as in male, female. That's why daemons was changed to demons. And Genesis 6 even says that Yahweh, the rat bastard, the jealous gecko god of this earth, was so upset that he was losing that he had to go on the warpath. So what this boils down to is that the so-called Nephilim, that's us, the children of the gods, the Aryans. We're the Nephilim. And if you understand the linguistic roots of that word, it makes perfect sense. And let me show you a little bit of that. Genesis 6:4, the jumping off point of all nonsense within the Abrahamic matrix, in which they will not talk to me about for obvious reasons. The Nephilim were in the earth in those days. And we're still here. And the Nephilim were the product of the sons of God, us, the Aryans that came from other places to defeat the Abrahamic matrix. And we set aside our principle, saw that earth girls were hot, had relations with them, and we bore them children. And Jama is ahead of the curve, and she's right. And it was these children that became the mighty men of old, the men of renown. And if you notice, Nephilim does not mean angel. The word angel doesn't appear in Genesis 6 because we weren't angels. Nephilim is word 5303 in the Greek, and it means a giant. It means a feller. It means a bully or a tyrant. A feller is to cut down things. We're here to cut down the Abrahamic matrix. We're here to bully the Abrahamic matrix, and we're here to be a tyrant to rid this earth of these invaders. That's why they want to say the Nephilim were angels. That's why they want to say they were fallen angels. And that's why they tried to flood the whole place. Thank you, Claudette. I have remembered. That's why they tried to flood the whole place. And that's why they're still trying to run us off, because we were winning then and we're winning now. We're winning then and we're winning now. And even they know it. This is why the Christians hate me. This is why they won't talk to me. This is why they dare not stand in scholarly discussion with me. Numbers 13:33, that's a very interesting number, isn't it? 369. Tesla said if you understand the 369, you'll understand everything. 369. Even they say, these Nephilim, they are great in stature. Doesn't necessarily mean you're giants. It just means you're a big badass. The Nephilim. And your enemies, they don't want you to know this, but I want you to know this. I want to give you this information so you can decide what you want to do. Our enemies, the enemies of the Aryan people, know that they're grasshoppers. They know that they're grasshoppers. We seem like grasshoppers in our own sight. They told you. And they know that to the truly awake Aryan, that we know they're grasshoppers. And it's funny to me that these guys were spies. And they must not have been very good spies, because obviously we found them out, and they're admitting we found them out. And when you find them out, when you finally see, you realize that you're dealing with grasshoppers. It's easy to stomp out a grasshopper. But if we don't get to stomping, then you can get a whole plague of locusts, and, well, you get where we are today. It is crunch time. So to understand where we are, we've got to understand the structure of this physical reality, of this material reality. We have to get it to understand where we are today, and we have to get it to understand what the future holds. So the first thing we got to wrap our mind around is time. Time is relative. It's not absolute. Now, I know we've been told and sold for 2,000 years, maybe even 6,000 years. Thank you, John from Tulsa. We've been told that time is absolute, but it's not. It's not. And do you know that time and the passing of time is dependent upon where you're measuring it from? And I take a lot of crap. Because I've dared to say that a certain someone whose name cannot be mentioned here is still living on the beautiful planet Earth today. But he's just living in a place, time, it's on my side. Yes, it is. Thank you, 33. Because it is. Time is on our side. That movie Fallen was a good one. Cynthia, we need to watch that again. But time depends upon where you're measuring it from. If you're measuring it from the inner Earth, it's different. If you're measuring it from Aldebaran, it's different. If you're measuring it from the moon, it's different. If you're measuring it from the Untersberg, it's different. It's different. Because the stronger the gravitational field, and I don't want to blow your minds, flat Earth folks, but whatever gravity is, and I'm having how can I be having connection problems? Whatever gravity is, wherever it's stronger, time moves slower. And wherever gravity is weaker, time moves faster. And really, it's just an appearance. It doesn't really move. But the effect of gravity is best felt when you measure the second, like the second. Quantumly, the second is defined as the time it takes for an electron to orbit the nucleus of an atom. And that is dependent upon where you are. So the closer in the electron orbits the nucleus, the stronger the gravity is. And the slower things move and the longer a second is. We'll talk about that Sunday, Jameis. Some do think Trump is Elvis. Oh, look, it changed magically. Thank you. Thank you. And the farther away, you get a shorter second. So this is not just something crazy from the head of Jeffrey Daugherty. This is actual reality. And there's guys that are a lot smarter than me, like Aristotle, like the ancient Babylonians, like the Confederates, and even those evil naughties. Hear what I'm saying? Those evil naughties. Now, Aristotle died in 322 before the Christian era. So this is way before anybody ever dreamed up this Jesus character. He kenned, he understood that there were 60 seconds to the minute, 60 minutes to the hour, and 24 hours in the day. How did he know? How did he know? And notice those numbers. They all tie to the base 6, which is the number of real humanity. The Confederates, back in 1864 and 65, there was a scientist that worked on Confederate torpedoes, which were actually mines. He produced the detonators for those. They actually used a radioactive isotope of platinum, I think it was. And an isotope is when extra electrons are forced to bind with an atom. How did he know in 1864, 1865? How did Aristotle know? How did the Babylonians know? How did the Confederates know? How did the Nazis know? They knew because they were Nephilim Aryans. Or at the very least, offspring of the Nephilim Aryans. And if you want more on this that I'm coming up on, you can watch this. It's on the channel Jesus and the Christ, Sovereign Citizens, Melchizedek. Light is actually produced from the orbiting of electrons, man. Electrons. And infrared light stems from electrons that are moving too slow for us to see with the naked eye. Visible light stems from electrons that move within the limited range that we can see. And ultraviolet light is too fast for us to see. And electricity is really just a chain reaction of electrons being swapped from one atom to another within a closed loop or a circuit. And an atom gets an extra electron from another atom, and then it passes along through the circuit. And the movement of these electrons is what produces the light. It's what produces the heat. You see, electricity is not a thing, it's a flow. And we're electrical beings. And that's what this deprogram is all about, the flow. The Christ is not a dude. The Christ is a flow. It's an exchange between higher divine beings and lower divine beings, and a lateral exchange between those divine beings. Very deep concept, I know. And you got to watch these twice sometimes, but I got to do what I got to do. Now let's talk a minute about dimensions, specifically like parallel dimensions. As James is saying right now, any technology that is sufficiently advanced will be called magic. But parallel dimensions are when multiple electrons are orbiting the nucleus of the same atom. And the distances from the core of that atom determines which dimension you're in. Like distances from 1 to 5 would be the first dimension, 6 to 10 the second, 11 to 15 the third, and so on. And an observer can only fully and directly experience the particular dimension in which they're located. All dimensions occupy the same physical space. All dimensions, all time, are here right now. We just can't see them unless and until we can. Can I stop sharing now and get me instead of this thing? Let me just try. What happens? We get the black space. We get the black space. I'd rather share and not have the black space. So let's do that. Oh, God, here we go again. Should have quit when I was ahead, right? I should have quit when I was ahead. I'm going to put that one up, Smoochie. That's a good one. Christ is a flow, a current, not a dude. Not a dude. And we know from Heisenberg's uncertainty principle, and he was a legendary German physicist who headed that evil, naughty nuclear program. He was the first one to understand this uncertainty principle. How did he know? And the Heisenberg uncertainty principle states that when you see something, the very act of you observing it has effect on it. Things that aren't being seen are different. Yes, they do, because they change your frequency, J. Bing. Let me show that one. Yes, they do have an effect because they change your frequency. You see what you're expecting to see, just like that. And I didn't plan that. I just love it when a plan comes together. You see what you're expecting to see, but it may not be how that thing really is. Deep, right? Really, really deep. I'm liking it. So, Zero, you're 100% right. And even the Jesus character said, "Know ye not that you are gods?" He did. He did. He did. He said it. What you experience with your eyes are only the things that are located in the same dimension as you're located, unless you can ever see other stuff. I remember the last big eclipse we had, it was in Nashville. And when that moon got blocked out, I was seeing other dimensions. And so was my friend, who's not particularly woke. But you can only see until you can see the things that are in the same dimension as you're located, and only as long as they let you. Now, some of your other senses can inform you of the nearness of something in a parallel dimension. You get those feels, you get that knowing, you get that, I call it the blink. Again, unless and until you are able to kin it, and you should be able to. But we just can't know everything that's going on around us, at least not fully, as long as we maintain our current position. I'm distracted by the chat. And it's limited view. Now let's talk a little bit about the transition between matter and spirit. A cosmic truth, once it's realized, is there thenceforward seen as common sense. One wonders why it took so long for everybody to see it was so obvious, because most people are stupid. Now, here's a fact. Matter can only exist up to the speed of light. The invaders and the people working with them are limited, and they can only move up to the speed of light. Why do you think all the craft from the greater armadas are able to fly circles around them because they're not limited to the speed of light, because they're not piloted by people that are governed by the Abrahamic matrix. Even the electrons of this physical realm, as it is now constructed in the Abrahamic matrix, they can only move up to the speed of light, but they can never exceed it. Everything moving slower than the speed of light, regardless of what dimension it's in, is material. That's why there will be what looks like alien craft, and there will be what looks like alien beings, but they're not actually what you think they are. They're all material, and we can defeat them. Because once you exceed the speed of light, you can't be material anymore. The true light is knowing that you have to be faster than the speed of light. Because once you move faster than the speed of light, you move into the realm of spirit, because even light itself is material. This is why our Aryan gods had to give birth to Aryan humans, the demigods, in this material realm. Because this allows us to act directly against the Abrahamic matrix here in this material realm, both now and forever. Time demands gravity. Gravity demands matter. Therefore, in the true realm of the spirit, there's no time. So time is really on our side. Oh, yes, it is, because we know it's fake, it's phony, and we can exceed it. The speed of light is 186,000 miles per second. 1 plus 8 is 9. Plus 6 is 15, which is a 6. They want us to think we're limited to that. But that is the precise boundary between matter and spirit. And the 6, the demigod human, has been brought here to teach you these deep truths so you can utilize them to be more than you are.
In fact, we're not coming from here. We came from there. Like this. This is Israel at their root. So we went through such a route that took us inside by what's called the shattering of the vessels. The shattering of the collective soul.
Who's the chief of staff that sent this command unit?
Him, the creator. Israel is a part of him.
So, seemingly this chief of staff sent this command unit?
Sent the commando, gave them strength, gave them the connections, everything. And if they're connected to him, but they have no choice. He broke them. He shattered them. What does it mean? In order to put them inside the hostile land, he had to give them the same form of that hostile land. It's like we go into a country as an undercover team. And each one of us is exactly like the people of the land. Say we're being now sent somewhere, Africa, for instance. So we'll take on the same shape and form of the people in Africa. The characteristics, traits, approach, interests, everything.
I'll keep playing it until you get it.
Same exact form, inside and out. As we are there, you know, it's like It's like an undercover agent. He is there for a while, no one touches him, he has to start working, build a house, family, everything is fine, okay, for years and years. After that, he starts doing something. He gets a reminder from outside. You got to start working. You know, he already forgot about it. And all of a sudden, they call him, here is your commander, this and this and that. You know, like in the movies. And like in Jason Bourne. And this is what's happening with us. We have to wake up. We have to remember that we have a special mission. And really, this isn't our place. We're coming from a completely different place. So we have to find our friends according to this awakening. Did you get a phone call? I got a phone call. He got a phone call, and so on. And then we gather as a group. So from this entire planet, we are aliens. We're coming from a different galaxy. We received this ray of light, this awakening, individually, and now we're gathering as groups, starting to prep ourselves to conquer Earth. That's the mission. What? You don't see it?
How do we conquer it?
How do we conquer it? We're also sent the method. We're being shown everything gradually. We're being taught. Not taught, but kind of being trained, activated, and then that emotion and mind awakens in us. But in fact, it's new to us, but in fact it's coming from our original planet. And thanks to that original natural force we have, we will take over. We'll take over those living on Earth. What are you looking at me like that? You don't believe what I'm telling you? I'm telling you seriously. It's even more than that. It's not a different galaxy. It's a different universe. It's a different dimension altogether. That's who we are.
When someone tells you who they are, I recommend that you believe them. And I'll keep playing that until we get it. And they even tell us within the script. You call it the scripture. I call it the script-sure. Because they're sure telling you. But 95% of Christians, and I say this as a 20-year Christian evangelist that went from church to church to church, pastor to 3 churches, but primarily church to church to church. "95% of Christians never read the Bible. And 95% of those that do read the Bible never study it, like in a concordance or in an interlinear, like Bible Hub. And that's by design. Because they can't afford for you to find out what I'm telling you. That's why I keep telling you. Like in 1 Corinthians chapter 2, verse 14, you understood what he said? Hollywood, who runs Hollywood? Who runs the movies? They're telling you they're spies. They're telling you that they're sleeper cells. They're telling you they're here to conquer the peoples of Earth. They're telling you they're here to conquer our great planet. And that's why we came here. the Aryan people. That's why we came here. Well, the destruction, Keith, is part of the conquering. So 1 Corinthians 2:14, the natural man, the man of the Abrahamic matrix, he doesn't accept the things that come from the spirit of the gods. And that's the literal rendering here. It's not the God of the Bible. It's gods, goddesses, male and female, more than one. For the person that cannot exceed the speed of the spirit, does not accept the things from the spirit of the gods. They consider them foolishness because it literally doesn't line up with their world. If you're limited by the speed of light, as defined in this Abrahamic matrix, then you can't understand real light. Because real light is not this material stuff you see. Real light is part of that flow that Smoochie, I'm going to call her Squatchy, talked about. It's the flow of communication between divine beings. And if you can't get there, it literally is foolishness to you. Foolishness to you. Because they simply can't discern it. Because they're only discerned in their minds through the speed of light matrix that they live in here. Zero, please, no more of that. Hello, Krista. So the fact of the matter is that the Abrahamics and anybody that believes the Bible, reads the Bible, thinks it has things of worth as a whole other than disclosure, will always literally be too slow to understand. When I was a kid, there was this old commercial. It was for this product called Brill Cream, which was kind of like the original hair gel. They used to say, a little dab will do ya. Well, I've warped that a little bit. Guess I added to it. And the reality is that a little dab will do you in. Just a little dab of the Abrahamic matrix. They even tell you this in the scripture. A little bit of leaven will leaven the whole lump. The thing that concerned me, Zero, is that by saying that the Bible, the way you framed it, it would cause people to think that there's good material there, when the only good material there is really the disclosure aspects of it. And you got to be pretty advanced to get there. So the best thing that most people can do is stop reading the Bible until they're able to see the Bible for what it is. That's where I'm coming from. You got to be a lot quicker than that. So the Abrahamics are literally too slow to understand. And as long as you look to anything within the Abrahamic matrix for motivation, for truth, for reality, it's my opinion. I'm just putting out information here for you to consider. Just putting out information if you consider. Thank you, Zero Dave, for being such, or Zero David 3, for being such a gentleman and a scholar. It will literally, as Jama just said, it'll eventually work through the whole lump. That's why it's so dangerous. It's just like the cupcake. It's just a cupcake, Jeff. Then you get the nanobots, and then you get the, and, you know, admittedly, I'm just reading this as it passes by. Then you get all the stuff that comes with it. And if you're still kissing people or having sex with people that took the cupcake, you're not going to make it. You're not going to make it. But Abrahamics are literally too slow to understand, and they never will, as long as they insist upon remaining in the slow material realm of the God of the Bible. You might as well try to teach Rooney over here to play Beethoven on the piano. You'll have as much success. And I say that as a guy who I've been doing this since 2012 on YouTube. So I've spent, 13 years? All dung, 100% dung, except for the disclosure aspects. You can't teach a cat to play Beethoven on the piano. You can't teach a fish to play Beethoven on the piano. You just can't. And it's foolishness to continue to do so, and I finally realized that. So I'll just cast the seed. But Kismet, you got to admit they can't be taught to play Beethoven on the piano. I got to quit reading the chat. What about the ozone layer? And this is in my great deprogram, Genesis 1, Original D and Reframe. You can look that one up on this channel. The ozone layer relates to ultraviolet light, which is a component of sunlight, and it's inimical to all biological life. It's bad for it. And the ozone layer is there to filter out this ultraviolet light from the sun. And I don't really think it comes from the sun, because I think the sun is divine, but the matrix overlay, me too. Me too. The ozone layer filters that ultraviolet light from the sun, making the existence of biological life on Earth possible. But the ongoing deliberate destruction of the ozone layer is of Abrahamic's design, trying to leave Earth devoid of all biological life and create a place where they can live. And the God of the Bible, even the God of 2 Timothy 2:15, his ultimate agenda is to eliminate all life of the last generation of real humans and replace it with their kind only. That's what Galatians 3:28 says. Read it. And if you remember your Bible, it's the first two verses. This lifeless, in Hebrew it's tohu and bohu, this lifeless void is exactly where the earth was left in Genesis 1 and 2. The earth was formless and void, tohu and bohu, and there was nothing but darkness over the surface. What's that mean? No light. And if you don't know light, you don't know how to exceed the speed of light. If you don't understand, at least as a concept, material light, you'll never understand immaterial light. And by the way, Genesis 1:1 says, in the beginning, God. This word is not the God of the Bible. This word is the word Elohim. And even they weren't good. But this word really talks about in the beginning, it was gods and goddesses, male and female, that created the heavens and the earth. And the earth was, everywhere else in the Old Testament, this word is translated became. The earth became formless and void, and darkness was over the face of the deep. That's what happened when the Abrahamics first invaded us. Keith, if you keep it up, I'm going to ban you. It's just that simple. Now you're in timeout, but if you can go into the corner, have a little talk with yourself and learn to be polite and learn to be interesting and quit doing your drive-by evangelism nonsense. Then you can come back. But if you can't, you can't. It's just that simple. And I got to get back onto the flat earthers for a minute. Because space is not a vacuum. Flat earthers, they ken this, they get this, but then they let the Abrahamic virus stop them from kenning any further. Because the flat earth Abrahamic psyop robs these true seekers. Because, I mean, you don't start believing the earth is flat or considering that the earth is not as it's been presented to us until you get outside of the dominant paradigm. But that's why flat earth was hijacked, because it takes people that have taken the first step and have gotten outside of the dominant matrix and puts them right back under the Abrahamic matrix and has them saying nonsensical things that are just buzzwords like space is fake and gay. And it robs them of moving into the ultimate knowledge that space is an infinite realm of potential. It's not a vacuum, but it's filled with minute particles and latent energy. Even physicists have admitted that there seems to be an ephemeral consciousness that permeates all of space. Even NASA's own astronauts have spoke of the inescapable feeling they had when they were in space, if they were, of not being alone. It is our gorgeous cosmos, Krista. Space is a realm of infinite potential. Space is the realm of true life and true creation. It's the realm of true life and true creation. Even Star Trek had to disclose that space is the final frontier. I like that, Smoochie. I want to come from being a flat earther to just an earther. Speaking of Star Trek, how about warp drive? Can we talk about that? Warp drive is theoretically and mathematically possible. But we've been told that it's never actually been demonstrated. And warp drive doesn't actually produce movement as we understand it. Instead, space between points, and Cynthia has brilliantly said, space is really just the distance between things. It's actually warped or folded, which brings those two places together. And you've seen this before, but I'll show you real quickly. And this is what the Hebrews, I mean that term not religiously, but I mean the biblical definition of Hebrew, which means those from the other side or those from beyond. And as Rabbi Laitman did his little diagram, let's just say that this is Rabbi Laitman's little diagram. I don't know if you can see those two X's or not, but there's a great space between, say that this is one place where they came from and here's our place. You can't, by conventional means, bring these things together. But when you warp or fold, they're right next to each other, and boom, you can get right there. Smoochie, come on. You can get right there. And that's what warp drive is. And references to the speed of light are just the rate of the warping and not the actual speed. Warping has no effect on the objects and entities that are being warped, or that are within the area, more correctly, that's being warped. And by the way, the Nazis accomplished this by 1945. Just so you know. So just a little bit of review to wrap this up for you. The Abrahamic invaders, they can only exist in the material plane. Any attempt by them to speed themselves up to enter the spiritual plane, which is exceeding the speed of light, will result in their destruction. And remember, this channel alone, period, full stop, the end. This channel alone, or at the very least, nearly so, this channel alone has consistently informed you that the very base name adopted by the Proto-Abrahamics, the Hebrews, which means people from the other side, people from beyond, as Rabbi Laitman just shared with you. I'm the only one that says that. And of all the people on YouTube, to be the only one that says that is quite remarkable. And by extension, the term Hebrew, from the other side, from beyond, it refers collectively to any and all races and peoples that have or will in any way collude with any of those involved in the Abrahamic invasion of Earth. This includes the Proto-Abrahamics, but it's not limited to them. That's why I get in trouble with some people. It's the Jews, it's the Jews. It's not just the Jews. And saying it's the Jews, it's the Jews, it's the Jews is a great way to keep you in a place where you stop thinking. It also includes all that embrace the Abrahamic matrix. And all of those, to use a World War II term, that are allied or all lied within that Abrahamics matrix. It also makes any and all of those that won't align with any of them, of any and all races, our kin. I get in trouble for that too. Not all white people are good, and not all non-white people are bad. That little tiny four-armed midget is white, and he told me that they're just pretending to be our friends so they can shoot us in the back, and they'll do it in a second, he said. But you're telling me that I can't align with people that are black, brown, red, or yellow, that won't bow the knee to that Jesus fellow? I say you're crazy. You're right. Dagger, they all lied. See, they tell us the little things are the big things. Dead Wolf even says the people that have tried to destroy him are white. And Dead Wolf, I'd almost bet any amount that most of them were Christian too. Now I'm going to make you mad. I'm going to make you mad. Some of you. It's kind of what I do. Because there's an old saying that says truth hurts, but ignorance hurts worse and for longer. The Elohim are not gods. They're godlings. They're inversions. And I'm now convinced through nearly 200,000 hours of study in the Hebrew scriptures, thank you, Dead Wolf, bingo, they're all Christians. The Elohim are numbered amongst the Hebrews exclusively. And the Hebrews are an inversion, and the Elohim are an inversion created to aid the one who calls himself Yahweh. Like all other Hebrews, the Elohim exists most of the time at vibrational levels within this material plane that we can't really see with the normie human eye. But once you see it, you can't unsee it. They're in actual fact located in other dimensions different from the one that we're in, but they have fashioned some way, whether it is of cloaking, whether it is of shape-shifting, or whether it is of popping in and out into vessels. And what better vessel? You know, Paul, who wrote 2/3 of the New Testament, excuse me, he said that, what did he say? What was I getting to? Oh, that it is your reasonable service to present yourself as a living sacrifice. Generally speaking, a sacrifice offers itself and is killed, right? But a living sacrifice offers itself up and stays alive as an organic portal, if you will, that things can pop in and out of. That things can pop in and out of. And regardless of how cunning, regardless of how powerful they appear to be, speaking of the Elohim, they're really still material beings. And when they're in this matrix, I don't think you can accidentally find the breakaway civilization. Just my opinion. While they're in this matrix, they're just as vulnerable as anything else in this material dimension. But since almost nobody knows and the rest of us won't remember the structure of material reality, the Elohim are able to pass themselves off as spirit beings to ignorant and unaware people, even some of them very, 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 very smart people, even for years to the Christian whistleblower. For a lot of years, I thought the Elohim were good guys. They're not. And just to follow up, I had a discussion with Robert Stanley after the show the other night, the deprogram, and he has, in fact, become born again. I shared with him my disappointment, but he's still my friend, so I won't abandon him. And life is long and has many winding roads, and I don't think the story has yet been written. I'll leave that there. And you have to understand this because it was the Elohim that bioengineered the Adamites. However, the Adamites only represent a limited portion of the human race and were not included if you are in the last generation of real humans. You are not included. You're not an Adamite. And in an actual literal description, not only are the Adamites not human, they're better termed to be subhuman. And under the overall supervision of the Elohim Yahweh, yes, Yahweh's an Elohim, They bioengineered all peoples, making up the Proto-Abrahamic race. No, I don't think everyone's mixed with them at some point. How tragic it is. Maybe the greatest tragedy that I've yet to ken or understand. The greatest tragedy is that many real Earth humans have all lied with the Abrahamic race. And even more tragic, and I don't know the number of this, but I think that's, to your point, 0. Even some of the Aryan demigods, offspring of the Aryans coming and ceding to you got to get out of that Bible. Even some demigods have done the same. All of them have willingly become slaves of the Abrahamics. They've become Yahweh's personal property, just like on the plantations. They got the black people in the black slave house fighting against the white people in the white slave house. And as long as you can keep them fighting, red and yellow, black and white, put them together and watch them fight. As long as we're fighting each other, we never think to look up to the top of the hill in the big house where the slave owners are. And we just quit fighting each other for a minute and march up that hill together, there won't even be a fight. They'll just run. And I know some of my friends on Goyim, we don't want to work with any race but the white race. That makes for a longer, bloodier fight. What if all the red and yellow, black and white laid aside their differences and joined the fight against the invaders? There wouldn't even be a fight. If the white race, the black race, the brown race, the yellow race, the red race wants to go it alone, they're in for a long and bloody battle that they may well lose. But if all those who haven't bowed the knee would stand together and fight, there wouldn't even be a war because they would run. And by the way, every time in the New Testament where you read the word servants of Christ, it's the word doulos, which means slave, slaves, bond servant. Why would a free, moral being choose to bend the knee and become a slave again? That's the greatest tragedy I've ever come upon. Just to drive it home for you, in the book of Revelation, the first verse in the book of Revelation, here's the real revelation of the Jesus Christ character. Is to show his slaves. Who are his slaves? Those that bear the record of the Word of God, which is the Bible, all of it, and the testimony of Jesus. And I'm hoping that you'll hear the words of this prophecy that I'm speaking tonight, because the time is at hand for you to start deciding who and what you are. I don't want to have to step over your corpses to build a new golden age. But if you throw in with those people, you will reap what you've sown. You will reap what you've sown. Borg Jesus. People want to tell us that resistance is futile. You will be assimilated. You will be assimilated. The Elohim sired a subhuman race, which is really a subhuman race. That's a Borg-like hive mind collective. And they really are Yahweh's chosen people. They really are Yahweh's chosen people. But the important thing to grasp here, folk, the important thing to grasp here, Ken, thank you, Kylie, is that all of this is literally physical. There is literally nothing spiritual about it. These original Elohim are highly expert at using a form of stealth technology. But just like a stealth aircraft, once you see them, they're sitting ducks. And their effectiveness is purely dependent upon their ability to stay hidden. And I'm imploring you tonight, see them. See. The Elohim are not the true gods. They're godlings. Now you know. They essentially are physical beings when they're in this. The only accident is only getting rid of a few Elohim and not all of them. Sooner or later, we will run them all the hell out of here. Then we'll run them the hell out of this universe, this galaxy, and then we'll run them the hell out of this universe. And Yahweh manifesting in this realm is also material and subject to defeat like any other material being. That's why our Armada will be effective. These Elohim, they just possess certain knowledge and or abilities that we've forgotten. And they're even stolen. They're not real. Oh, those jets are amazing. Yeah, but that's like trying to run a go-kart at the Daytona 500. But some of us, until now, you've been ignorant of things. And I reached a realization maybe a year ago. It's time to let the ignorant be ignorant. And ignorant means not to know, to be unaware. And if you're still unaware at this stage of the game, you're dead weight. And me and Dagger, stolen valor, brilliantly put. Me and Dagger are getting tired of carrying your weight. It's hurting our backs. It's a whole lot easier to run a sprint when you're not carrying a piano. So the godlings, for the same reason that the demiurge is never capitalized, nor should we ever capitalize godlings. The word actually comes from my people, the ancient heathen Irish, the Tua. And you know what it refers to? This is every single angel in the Bible, every single Jesus in the Bible, every single God in the Bible. 33, I think we're on the short bus. They're all slow. But the word godling means a mortal man or a woman, a material being who tries to pass himself off as a god or goddess. It was a capital offense, meaning you got killed for it, punishable by death, as per instructions of the Tua. And you know what gets you killed is whenever you purpose to limit the divinity, sovereignty, and freedom of another being. And Jesus is a godling, in my opinion. I'm just casting seed, like Bill Hicks. So how do we win this war? Well, the first thing we have to do is learn that we're playing a game. But we got to stop playing their game and start playing our game. Once we see this war as something like a chess game, 4D chess for you Q-tards, and the individual Abrahamics, the individual people are just the pawns of Yahweh. And I know I got some chess experts that are going to, why would you carry a cross? But all of you chess experts, just understand it's a metaphor. Generally speaking, the game of chess isn't won by checkmating, isn't won by eliminating the pawns. You don't win the game if you got rid of every one of the pawns. You don't win the game. You only win the game by ultimately checkmating the king, who in this game is Yahweh. Now, of course, there's other pieces more powerful than the pawns that also stand in the way, and they need to be defeated too. But the object of the game remains precisely the same. You know, the Stanley Cup playoffs are going on now. I don't watch sports much anymore because it got so woke, but hockey's the best one out there. If you win 3 games in the Stanley Cup finals, you don't win anything. You got to win 4. So if you think your enemy is the individual pawn, you're not understanding the game. Our work, if we want to be efficient about it, is to figure out how to play this game according to our rules. Change the game. Play it our way. We've got to strategically and smartly carry the fight to the enemy. That's the only way to ultimately win this battle over them. Remember, oh, Archangel Michael, Archangel Gabriel, I could name all 7 of them, but I got nothing to prove. Jesus, Mary. It's time to join the hunt, like my poster back there says. We're in a supernatural battle. Let's join the hunt. Dagger, if you only care about hockey when the Leafs are in it, you ain't going to be caring about hockey too long. I mean, even the Lightning, they won 3 games, and they're on the golf course. Enough about sports. But remember, all of these things that got you convinced they're gods and angels and fallen angels and seraphim and teraphim and all this nonsense, they're just physical entities. When they're in this realm, they got to be in this realm to fight this war. I know Coke Zero, I didn't drink it for a long time, but man, I'm losing weight like a sub-Saharan famine victim. Oh, that's awesome, Claudette. Wish I could have met your dad. Let me show that one. That's a good one. They're just physical entities in this fight, just like we are. And they know it. And now Since you've been here tonight, so do you. Now, I can't say that I've ever done this because I think he's terrified of me. But Randall, who wrote the essay, which is the base of this deprogram, Randall, and I think Randall is as right as rain. I think he's true blue. He said that twice he's confronted Yahweh in vision. And both times Yahweh came in the form of a boiling black cloud. Neither time did Yahweh ever have the nerve to come out and show himself. He backed off both times that Randall stood his ground, unintimidated by his performance. Yahweh is just like every other Christian. He's a coward. And if there's anybody walking on 2 feet on terra firma who deserves the curses of Yahweh, it's this guy. He's the rat bastard. He's a liar. He's a coward just like his people. Somebody clip that and put it out to everybody. Yahweh's terrified of me, and for good reason. And he's also terrified of thee, and for good reason, if you're picking up what I'm putting down. Coke Zero got stevia in it. I'm good with stevia. You see, Randall went on the offensive, and we have to as well. I've been on this offensive for over 12 years. Actually, more than that, probably 15. But both biblically and extra biblically, Yahweh always comes in the midst of a dark cloud. And like Randall, I like this. Like Randall, and like where few dare to tread, Cynthia told me, take the chat off the screen. It's distracting. She was right. Which she usually is. Don't tell her I said that because I think she's asleep now. Stevia is not artificial, Jama. Comes from a plant. I know you guys love me. But like Randall, I'm now more convinced than ever that Yahweh hides because he knows it's too risky for him to show himself to we who knows what he really is. He's afraid to show his true form, says Kismet Cat. She's right. Because Yahweh is a coward, just like all the rest of the Abrahamics. It's their nature. We're fighting cowards. Yahweh wants you to think he's a big, bad dragon. Destroyed the earth in Genesis 1:2. Oh, you know that Jeremiah said that the condition of Genesis 1:2 came from Yahweh and his fierce anger blown through his nostrils. Yahweh wants you to think he's a dragon, but ta-da! Yahweh is a Geico gecko. Yahweh is a Geico gecko. I might get in trouble a little bit about this, but I'm going to do it anyway. But I'm going to do it really quickly. The next slide will be very fast. But understand this. Randall asked a question that I've often pondered myself. I've often pondered this myself. He's a toad. Not even a toad. He's a little gecko. Why are all the Abrahamics and their sympathizers so terrified of the ancient way? Good one, NS guy. Way before World War II. Why are all the Abrahamics and their sympathizers so terrified of the swastika? Of course, we know it as the symbol of the Aryans, but beyond that, it's the symbol of the divine, sovereign, and free, the last generation of real humans and their demigod friends. Why is it, and I'm just asking questions, why is it that no other symbol has ever met with such ubiquitous disdain and rancor? What power does it represent that they're so spooked by it? Like a vampire to a crucifix. There's some great kosher disclosure there. They're showing that they, the vampires, are really scared of the symbol, but it ain't a crucifix. Why are they so spooked by it? Somehow I think that the answers to these questions are going to wind up going a long, long way towards revealing just how, what did Kismic say that was interesting? Just how we are to proceed against them. And really, the swastika is nothing more than a symbol of the Northern Star turning continually. This is just a question. But could the sacred swastika be the ultimate weapon of mass destruction against the Abrahamic matrix? And do you see that mass destruction? Got to destroy that mass. Or at least get the people that practice it out of our lands. I'm not an extermination guy. I'm a catch and release guy. That's what I meant, Frank Castle. I don't know. Does it represent the Big Dipper or does it represent the Northern Star? We're on the same page. I got to do this next one really fast, so just watch this, and then we'll move on. That's what they're trying to tell us. And that's Jesus, by the way. So, let me wrap it up. You know what it says when a preacher says the big and the little dipper? Thank you, Kylie. You know what it says when a preacher says, and I'm closing with this, it means absolutely nothing. The four seasons, the wheel. So the Renaissance on earth and the Renaissance of man after the expulsion of the outsiders. We don't seek the beginning of a new civilization, really. We seek the reestablishment of an ancient golden order, an age of humanity. We seek a new order of the ages. And I did this not too long ago. You can find it on this channel, Secret Symbols of the Dollar Bill. Not really received too well, which surprised me. I thought everybody would love to see that, but maybe not. But there's a word. Gotcha, Frank and Kylie. You're right. I think a lot of teachers are quitting too for those reasons, because they're babies. Wah, wah, wah. Oh, I got summer's off. It's terrible. Most of them are woke and they're afraid. That's just my take. But on the dollar bill as designed by Thomas Jefferson, there are some words on there. Novus Ordo Secularum. You know what that means? It means a new order of the ages. A new order, a new arrangement of the ages. What we really want is a new order of ages, which was the old order of ages before we were ruled by religions and kings and queens that are kings that are queens. Like King James, your King James guy said, yeah, I got a homosexual partner, but Jesus had his John, so I got my George. No big deal. The new order of the ages was to turn our backs on exclusivist revelation, as in books-based religions, and go back to a land where all people are divine, sovereign, and free and are welcome to worship or not worship deity as they see fit. That's why it was on the dollar bill, that they knew we'd use every day to remind us that we're here to bring a new order of the ages. And that's what this is all about, baby. A new order of the ages. New in the sense that it's going to be even better than the last golden age. And in our recent deprogram, Your Ancestral Lore, check that out. And by the way, I got a new Substack. We want to return to the true civilization that existed on Earth prior to the proto-Abrahamic invasion that Rabbi Laitman told you about. It's new to us in a relative sense, but it's really a rebirth. The sky and the wheel in the sky keeps on turning. We want a new world order, but not the new world order. And it doesn't mean new world order. It means new order of the ages. Our Aryan ancestors were once given the task of bringing and teaching civilization, optimization to this beautiful divine earth and its beautiful people. This mantle was passed to my people, the descendants of the Tua, and we passed it on to literally all peoples and races that have the intelligence, the initiative, and the character to embrace it. We wish for all the various real peoples of the earth to develop their own native civilizations by their damn self and on their own. We'll teach, we'll give you all the tools, you go out and do it yourself in your lands. We'll leave you the hell alone, you leave us the hell alone. That's the deal. We're here to help each and every people find optimization to the extent that their own initiatives, talents, and abilities allow them. We're not here to do it for anybody. And we've left some really good instructions. Hear me. We want to aid every people find their own ways in their own lands. We're happy and eager to do all we can to give any and every people our advanced tools of technical, cultural, and spiritual optimization. We want to help them to help themselves. Our goal is to strive for an earth where all peoples are divine, sovereign, and free. We only ask for the courtesy and respect of the same in regards to our people. No more, no less. Because this is our divine mandate. This is our divine mission. And finally, I think I got maybe 2 slides left, 3. As above, so below. Even though it's been perverted, even though it's been inverted by the various and sundry branches of the Abrahamic matrix, this esoteric axiom still trumpets out an ancient, occulted, or hidden truth. All of Earth's major sacred sites, regardless of the folk, regardless of the tradition, are laid out in a regular grid pattern that's based upon longitude and latitude, much like the one we're familiar with. The exception being that the true point of origin, the sacred spot from which everything is measured, is the Great Pyramid of Giza, built by the Tua, or at least built by, I think the Tua built it, but they at least gave the plans to people how to do it. And it was our first great evangelistic gospel mission. Do you know that evangelism is a heathen word, which means spreading the good news of heathen victory, and gospel is a heathen word that means the good news of the heathen victory? Interesting. Frank says that the Abrahamics feared the Swazi because it proves that we're not traveling at 167,000 miles per hour through space. Interesting point. But the Abrahamics want us to believe that the point from which all things are measured is the Royal Observatory. How about that? In England, perverted for obvious and blatant reasons. And that's interesting because we know gravity is measured differently by different points, whatever you think gravity is. So there's a big difference. And each one of these sacred sites and artifacts of all the great pre-Adamic traditions of real Earth humans are laid out in mathematical precision in accordance to the location of certain stars in the sky above. And if you have been, can I suggest to you that if you've been captivated by the Abrahamics infiltrated flat earth theory that teaches that stars aren't real and space is fake and gay, then for you to get this deep esoteric truth, there's no way. And this is the true and precise meaning of as above and so below. I asked you nicely once. I had to put you in timeout. By bringing the stars down to earth and by raising the earth to the stars, which are real, that's where we find the unity of the universe and consciousness. Sites are also laid out to align with the rising and setting sun, which is real, at regular sacred times of the year. And this was all considered to be sacred, divine, and to reveal a momentous purpose during the last golden age of divine earth, real humanity and their friends. And the Abrahamics invaders have gone out of their way to destroy this connection and unity between heaven and earth. And that's part of the reason why the flat earth movement was hijacked. By destroying the sites where they were able and continuing to do so, by killing our ancestors who understood, and even the people today that understand the purposes of these sacred sites, and by inventing an inverted Abrahamics full of tales and explanations for them, including that they're fake and gay. Jeff, when are you going to get off of that? Never. It's infecting our people. They've succeeded, almost, in deceiving the very elect and keeping it ignorant still. You can't know unless I tell you. And I'm the only guy telling you some of these things. But due to the wisdom of our ancestors, they failed to destroy the great masses of stone. And those stones still literally resonate with the universe and the gods and goddesses. Check out this deprogram on this channel. Exactly right, Dagger. And I think it's all related. The good news is we don't have to start from scratch. That's good news. We are left with at least part of the spiritual infrastructure of the previous golden age. And it still resonates within the hearts of the divine, sovereign, and free. It still resonates within the hearts of the last generation of real humans. I have to admit, I'm still a preacher, preaching the real gospel. 33, this is just an interesting discussion. And I would ask you, have you ever been to the Georgia Guidestones yourself personally? I have. Bro, it wasn't what they think it was. They told us it was. It wasn't really this great thing, in my opinion. And I've been there. Gave us a few clues, but it ain't what they said it was. And see, it's okay for me and 33 to have disagreements on minor points and still be within unity. I just don't think they were anything, man. I actually think that L. Ron Hubbard might have put it up to mark the place where he thought Zemu came to Earth. I'm just saying. That's just my thoughts. And I welcome your thoughts presented politely and interestingly. See, you don't have to agree with the host. Oh, if somebody disagrees with Jeff, he bans them. No. But here's a clue. I probably got 20 hours invested in this deprogram. And I know some of you don't believe this, but the at least 1,500 or so people that will watch this deprogram, they didn't come here to hear what you have to say. They came here to hear what I have to say. And if after a little warning you continue to distract me from trying to say that, and when I got 20 hours in it, could be something, 33. To me, it doesn't. Ooh, let's ask the rods. How do we ask at 33? We can't ask if the Georgia Guidestones were real because we only get yes or no answers with the rods. How do we frame it? How do we frame that question? Let me try. Here's an example of how this works. Is Jeff wearing a pink shirt tonight? No. Is Jeff wearing a blue shirt tonight? Yes. Did the Georgia Guidestones contain any esoteric clues for us? Yes. Were the Georgia Guidestones altogether an esoteric plus? No. Here we go. Was the destruction of the Georgia Guidestones done to hide truth? Kinda no, but maybe. So there's some room for both of us in there, 33. And I'm okay with that. And, I went to him for a reason, so. I mean, there was that hole. Oh, there's a good one, J. Bing. In reference to the Georgia Guidestones, Frank, I'll put you right back in. In reference to the Georgia Guidestones, did the elites destroy their own monument? That says a strong no. Oh, okay, Deborah, I'll do that. Good point. They do sprinkle truth in everything. Were the Georgia Guidestones a Rosicrucian message? The rods say no. I'd never heard a connection between the Guidestones and the Rosicrucians. Interesting, Deborah. I love thinking. I love thinking. And I love it when females are thinking, especially. Not that females don't think, but I dig chicks that are into deep esoteric thought. Spank me. But we don't have to start from zero. Our gods, our goddesses, our ancestors, our folk, we are certainly battered. But we're just as assuredly unbroken, baby. We just have to listen. We just have to ken. I'll ask that, Divine. Were the Georgia Guidestones made by pagans to show our people's numbers versus the mainstream religious numbers? Yes. And that would include L. Ron Hubbard, too, by the way. Oh, thank you, Jama. Did L. Ron Hubbard place the Georgia Guidestones? Oh, the rods say, yeah. Boom. Interesting. Folk, Ken, our work is a work of restoration, a work of replacement, the true great replacement, replacing this current order with a new order for the ages. And in so doing, we can and will reunite heaven and earth. It's winter right now. Times are tough, times are hard, times are bad. Watch that video, Your Ancestral Lore. Rooney's using his scratching post. But spring always follows winter. But as the lovely Cynthia says, she gets the feeling, and so do I, that this might be the last winter. This might be our last shot. Jeff, why are you so this and why are you so that? It might be our last shot, man. The spring of the new golden age is coming. If we do our part. Somebody's going to win. It's got to be us. It's got to be us.
This squirrel clamped its teeth tightly onto the girl's hand and dragged her outside with all its strength, letting out heart-wrenching squeaks nonstop. The girl, with no time to...
Let's do something a little fun, okay? Close this with a little fun, connecting with nature.
think, endured the pain, and was dragged 500 meters by it, until they stopped by a bush beside the road. What came into view was a badly injured squirrel. It turned out that just moments ago, its friend had been hit by a car while crossing the road, so it had no choice but to ask humans for help. At first, the girl thought it wasn't serious, so she settled it down casually and fed it some food. But hours passed. The squirrel's leg injury still hadn't improved. It could only crawl with great difficulty. To live up to this cross-species trust, the girl decided to see it through. After a vet examination, its hind leg was completely broken. Although surgery saved its life, no one could say for sure if it would ever walk again. But the girl didn't give up on this little creature, and took it home to care for it carefully. To help it recover as soon as possible, the girl taught herself acupuncture, and treated it every day. She also prepared all kinds of fresh fruits daily. She kept this up for a whole month, and the little squirrel's leg miraculously healed. It hopped around excitedly on the bed. During the days they spent together, the little squirrel completely let down its guard, and regarded this place as its own home. It stuck to the girl all day long, trusting her like a child trusts its mother. Seeing that the little squirrel could now survive on its own, the girl reluctantly sent it back to the forest. But early the next morning, a crackling sound woke her up, until she pointed her camera at the big tree outside the window. did she see that it was the little squirrel. It was throwing pine cones one by one onto her balcony, repaying her kindness in its own clumsy way. Looking at the mountain of pine cones on the balcony, a warm current instantly washed over the girl's heart. She quickly brought a big bowl of nuts to entertain this special guest. From then on, the little squirrel came to visit her every day on time. To make it comfortable, the girl built a special little playground for it in the yard. Later, it even found friends, and they often shared delicious food together. But they always felt they shouldn't take without giving back, so they still picked pine cones for the girl from time to time. She had only saved a little squirrel out of kindness, but unexpectedly received a gift from the entire forest. It turns out that kindness is a two-way street, and it will always come back to you in the gentlest way.
That's what happens when we rediscover our connection with nature. That's part of the golden age. Even though they're rats with bushy tails. And that is the end of the deprogram. I can take calls, but I haven't figured out how to not show your calls. Hell, I can't even stop sharing and put me on the screen and not this black box. What if I did this? I'll try one thing before we go. I'm going to shrink this down. This might be the answer. I'm going to turn that off. And I'll open up a new window over here on this screen. And I'll go to the Google Voice that I use to take calls now because it's free and it works just as good as the Ring Central that cost me $50 a month. Ooh, I think this might work because you don't see it, do you? But will you hear it? That's the problem. Will you hear it? Let's see. Let's try it. I'll put the phone number in and somebody call and we'll see if we can hear you. 913-228-2586. If somebody wants to call in, and I want to see if we can hear you. We might not be able to. It might be a wash. But this is the only way that I could kind of figure out how to do it. I'll try to get this worked out before the next show, but I got a lot of things going on. Hello there. You're live. I'm wondering if people... Well, we're going to find out really quickly if we can hear you. Let me know in the channel, but go ahead with your call. Yep. Yes. I lost him, but we couldn't hear him anyway. I'll figure it out. There's got to be a way to do it, but we can't, be showing your phone numbers on the screen. Sorry that, Jim. We didn't have the audio. We'll figure it out. You know what? Let me try one more thing since it's not sharing this. Well, if I'm not, I am sharing the screen, but there's nothing on it. Let me try one other thing. This is killing my numbers probably, but that's okay. what happens if I do this? If I'm sharing, no, it's going to show the numbers. It's going to show the numbers that come up. What if I pulled it off to the side like that? Yeah, it's still going to show the whole window. Yeah, I tried. Sorry. Yeah, Dead Wolf, it couldn't work. There's probably a way to do it. But hey, I hope you enjoyed the deprogram tonight. I got to get this damn thing figured out. I just don't understand what's going on. I just don't hide. I can hide that window. Boom. How about that? Ooh. Let's go back to this. Let me get... Sorry, I hid my damn self. I think I just found the answer, though. I think I can turn on that window and then hide it. So I think we'll be good to go for the next show. I'll get with Cynthia, have her call me. We'll work it out. But we do appreciate all of you being here tonight. If you're hearing the sound of my voice, whether you believe you are or not, I'm pretty sure you're part of the last generation of real humans. I'm pretty sure you're divine, sovereign, and free, or at least have the potential to be. And I'm absolutely positive that this world is going to be better than it's ever been because we're waking up and realizing who we are. We're winning. The last battalion will be ours. Not intentionally, Dagger. I salute you for being here seeking after truth. Not only will we win, but we're going to win soon. And we got a little thing coming to us called Retribution. Retribution. Look forward to it. It goes a little bit like this.
Retribution! Oh yeah, we want retribution! Oh yeah, we want retribution!